All right, so the first step is to set the dip switches. Before you get started, I highly recommend that you label your batteries. Master, slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, and so on. However many batteries that you have. All right, let's take the covers off. All right, so now that we've got it open, let's set our dip switches. Just one thing I want to note, you can see the pattern that it has right now, which is up, up, and all down. That is actually standalone. All right, that's the default setting. Standalone is not the same as master. So we're going to be setting them to this right here, which is the 920 amp hour 2-battery system. And this is the master. So let's set the master, which is up, down, 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 all down. So up, down, 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 and then all down. And then the second one is down, up, down, up, down, down, down. So let's set those. So that is down, up, and then up, down, down, down. And then you can see that all of them should match what we have here. You can confirm that. All right, if that looks good to you, let's move on to the next step. All right, step 2, you do have to connect the main current carrying cables before you power up the comms. So let's just connect these here. These batteries are currently off. And if you're commissioning these on the bench, they don't need to be large cables like this. You can even just put jumpers to make sure that you can get this step done on the bench. If you're already putting them in the boat or the camper, you may as well hook up your large current carrying connectors. All right, so that's one. I'll do the other one and then we'll move on. Okay, so the next step is we're going to hook up the gauge and then we're going to hook up the daisy chain comm cables. So as you remember, we're looking at this battery from the other side now. This was the master, this is slave 1. So we're going to hook up the gauge into the master blue port. So let's just plug that in, tighten this cap down, make sure this plug is seated, and then we are going to come out of the black port on the master and into the blue port on slave 1. Okay, and then at that point we can turn on our master. Both batteries should come on. Gauge should come on in just a second here. Got welcome. All right, so the gauge is on, and we should now be able to go to our new Epoch Cloud app, which is only for the V2. It doesn't work on the Essentials or any other batteries. So let's go to the Epoch Cloud app. Let's maximize it here. So it says Elite Series, confirm. Only one of these batteries is going to show up because we only have one gauge. That's where all the Bluetooth is coming from. They're all totalized through a single gauge. So that is Al's Garage. And there we are, we've got 94%. So you can see a few things. Here's battery pack. Now, actually, first to notice is we have 920 amp hours, so they are being totalized into the app. So we have battery pack information. Both batteries show through this app. Let's look at cell voltages. Down here we've got the individual cell voltages. Battery pack 1, battery pack 2. X out of that. We have temperatures. Battery pack 1, battery pack 2. X out of that. It'll tell you whether it's balancing, etc., etc. If you were to do an update, that would be over here under equipment upgrade. And I don't have one available because we've already done it previously. Oh, back down here, and there you have it. So that's the new app. It's very simple, very direct, very clean. Let's go on to the next thing. All right, so the last portion of this is to hook the harness, the gray plug harness labeled Victron, into the proper spot in the Serbo GX. We have VE-CAN 1 and VE-CAN 2. This is a Serbo GX Mark II, the latest version. The previous version will have VE-CAN 1 and BMS CAN. Obviously, in the older version, you'll be plugging into the BMS CAN. In this one, you can configure either one of these to be a BMS CAN for BMS control. In this case, I'm going to use the VE-CAN 2 So essentially all you do is, there's VE-CAN 2, it's just one of these two plugs, and you'll just plug it right in there. And the rest of it will go through setting up on the screen recorder in the Victron Connect app. All right, let's do that. All right, we have the connections made, but there still is no battery information on that bottom tile. We need to set up the VE-CAN port speed so that we can get that information from the Epoch BMS to the servo system. So let's touch the screen anywhere, hit settings, go to connectivity, VE-CAN port 2 is what I'm using, and then it says CAN bus profile at the top. Hit the arrow. We want CAN bus BMS LV 500 kilobytes per second. Click that, and let's go back to the overview, and now we have battery information. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to enable DVCC and set the Epoch BMS as controlling BMS. So again, tap the screen, go to settings, go to system setup, charge control, and there you see DVCC. It's currently turned off. Toggle DVCC on. That enables a host of other items. But down at the bottom it says controlling BMS. Right now it's an automatic selection. But we want to go ahead and put that to Epoch as the controlling BMS. At that point, make sure that SVS, shared voltage sense, is on. The rest can stay off. We don't need to do anything else in here. The next thing we need to do is we need to set the battery monitor. Again, hit the screen, hit settings, go to system setup, hit batteries right in the middle. At the top you can see battery monitor. Currently it's an automatic. Let's click the arrow. Let's set it to Epoch CAN bus. Alright, let's go back to settings and the overview. And then we can see that the battery is there. It would now be controlling the inverter. Up there where it says off, right now I don't have an inverter. If it did have an inverter, it would say external control. If it's saying bulk, absorption, or float, then we haven't done something right and we're not in external control. Let's click on the battery tile for some more information. Let's look at details. We have battery modules online, 2 online, 0 offline. Number of modules blocking charge or discharge, 0. If there was a code or a warning in either one of the batteries, it would say 2 or 1 or whatever, depending on what was blocking the charge or discharge. Installed and available capacity, we have 920 amp hours of installed capacity, and currently we have 869 amp hours of available capacity. So everything looks good there. If we go to parameters, these are the details from the BMS that it's commanding the Victron system towards. For instance, the charge voltage limit right now is 14 volts. If we were to apply a charge, if we had a multiplus or quattro or DC to DC charger or Victron MPPT, it would command those units to output 14 volts. It would charge to 14 volts absorption. It would hit 14 volts, it would hold it there for some number of time, and then it would drop it down to a lower voltage of 13.5 for float. Charge current limit is 460, discharge current limit 660, and there is no request for charging at the moment because we don't have any charge sources. And that concludes the easy setup